Welcome to the Dad Code Podcast. This is DDS, where real fans come for real sports talk and no BS. We are your hosts, Blake Melton, Bradley Newberry, and Matthew Parker, sporting the two-tone blue.
That's right. Hey,
how you doing, Parker?
Go Randy Moss.
There you go.
I'm a nervous wreck down here. Do you want to know why I'm a nervous wreck? The 0-3 Jacksonville Jaguars are on primetime football tonight. Jaguars at Bengals. Burrow versus Lawrence on primetime. The Jaguars have lost 18 straight games. They are 0-3 under Urban Meyer. They just traded away the former number one first-round pick and their cornerback, C.J. Henderson. Josh Lambo, their kicker, is not hurt, but he is not playing. The Jaguars defense is number 27 in the league going against Burrow. Blake, I know you like Burrow.
I am a fan of old Joey football. I mean, I think he's just so much fun to watch. I think he's got a tremendous upside in this league. It's just a matter of if they can keep him upright and keep him from getting hurt like they did last year.
Brad, I wasn't here Tuesday. You mentioned in a preview pod, Jags had a 70% chance to win last week.
Yeah, when they went up 19-10.
Not only did they have a 70% chance to win, because I was all over them on the cover, they had a 95% chance to cover that game, and they didn't. And just to bring up one other thing to prove to this coaching staff this horizontal nonsense doesn't work. Urban Meyer, after the game, I'm sure you saw this, went up to Cliff Kingsbury and he said, quote, "Every week is like playing Alabama," end quote. Really, Urban? Like, I mean, obviously, it just shows to me that you out-talented teams. That's what your coaching style was. You just had better players, and it's not working in the NFL. And they, I know the cornerback they just traded wasn't playing a whole lot, but they traded him for a tight end.
Tight end, and they swapped a 5th round pick and got a 3rd round pick.
Yeah, but I mean, it's not a huge wash. Last week I said it that I would have picked Jacksonville if they had any other coach in the league, and I think it would have been right. I think Jacksonville would have won, and I feel super similar about the situation tonight.
I really enjoyed though that they actually stuck with the run a little bit, using James Robinson. They even used him in the passing game here. Where they keep shooting themselves in the foot is just and I'm not just talking about the flea flicker debacle. You can run that play at the 50, not at the 15 or the 10, but it's just the play calling, man. Just keep it simple tonight and just see what happens. I mean, keep using James Robinson. That's what he's there for. Just run the rock. You can run a little game with LaVisca if you want to. But I'm looking at the other side of the ball, Blake, and I'm looking at, Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase. I think this guy is like number one in the NFL with receptions over 25 yards. He's going to have at least 2 of those explosive plays, I would think, tonight. So Jamar Chase, and don't forget Joe Mixon coming out of the backfield for the Bengals.
Yeah, I think they're going to see a steady diet of both of those guys. And I'm with Parker. I cannot get behind a team that has Urban Meyer at the helm. And this, whatever you want to call this offense that they're running, it's not putting Trevor Lawrence in a position where he's going to be able to do what he needs to do to help the team. I mean, good God. I mean, like we've talked about on our reaction show, right now, I'm just glad that he's not hurting the team more. He's actually the one that's, not hurting the team by just throwing the ball away. He's not caring about his stats. He's trying not to turn the ball over. But I mean, I don't think this one's going to go the way the Jags want it to go for sure.
I mean, when was the last time Cincinnati was a 7.5 point favorite?
Oh.
I would tell you if I had the stat, but honestly, I could look for it. I couldn't find it. The one thing you mentioned about Jamar Chase, though, is T. Higgins is out tonight. And I actually think T. Higgins is their best receiver. That means I think Jamar is going to get shadowed by Shaquille Griffin. And he's not actually been shadowed by a number one receiver. So maybe, or number one cornerback, maybe that helps to slow him down. I think Tyler Boyd's going to be open all night long. And Tate, he's going to be open all night long. And like you mentioned about my boy James Robinson, I mean, he's starting to figure it out. In the first game, they ran him 5 times, 25 yards. Second game, 11 for 47. Third, 15 for 88. Urban, run the ball. I know you're doing it more, but right now, people think Burrow's slinging it all over the field. The Bengals throw it 53% of the time. The Jags pass 70%.
Way too much.
In the NFL, that's like an MTSU number.
Yeah, it's because they do those little short passes that are basically
Extensions
runs.
of the run.
Yeah, they're runs on the outside is what they are.
Well,
that's how it justifies it anyway.
What's interesting, though, about this matchup is as much as we talk about Griffin shadowing any receiver for the Bengals, the Cincinnati defensive backfield situation is bad right now. They have injuries. Yep. They are also missing their top safety is out. Jesse Bates is out for this game. If any game that the Jaguars have played so far that they could scheme up a passing game against, it may be this one. It may be the Bengals. We may be looking at Chark, Jones, Chenault in a passing game a little bit, but I don't want them to forget about Robinson. He can catch the ball out of the backfield too.
Yeah, 27th ranked defense.
You're absolutely right. I mean, you can see here, I jotted down, Bengals missing star safety, starting quarterback, arguably their best wide receiver. All the stats, just like last week with Arizona, point to Jacksonville winning this game.
Are any of us brave enough to do it?
No. I'm not.
What you got?
I'm not. I got Bengals 21-20. I think it's a close game, but I think Joey football pulls it out.
Yeah, the only thing that really points to Cincinnati for me is that they actually are pretty good at getting pressure on, and Trevor Lawrence under pressure has not been very good. I think Bengals win this one 23-20. I had Jacksonville written down here. But again, I just can't do it with the play calling.
Yep, I'm with you.
Parker likes to look or talk about Super Bowl games. My hope is that the Bengals just came off of Super Bowl victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Bengals are 10-16 against the spread after playing the Steelers. Let's do it.
You doing it?
Let's go.
Gosh, God.
Whisper it.
Let's do it. Let's do it tonight. Jacksonville Jaguars show up 20-18. Victory.
Okay.
I actually like them. I really did like them. I liked them against Arizona. They just pooed all over themselves.
This is only the second time this year
they took
that I've picked them to win. This is still lining up with how I predicted that they would be. I picked them to win against Houston earlier before the season started. I picked them to win this game. Do I have faith in it? Maybe not, but there are some injury situations for the Bengals that give them an opportunity. I just don't want the Jaguars to outthink themselves. Just keep it simple.
Urban Meyer's good at that.
Yep. All right, hometown Tennessee Titans make another road trip. They are going to the New York Jets. Quarterback Zach Wilson, gentlemen, has just straight been awful. But the question that we may need to start with to the season ticket holder is, what about the wide receiver injury situation for the Titans?
A.J. Brown is out, and I also believe Julio will be out. That means the number one receiver is going to be Josh Reynolds or Chester Rogers. That's going to be the two guys that we see out there all the time. It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter against the Jets. Like, we should be able to, it's not like we're starting high school receivers. These are professionals that we should go out there and be able to handle our business. But I'm not going to lie to you guys. This game scares the crap out of me. I mean, more so, I am less sure about this game than I was about the Colts game.
Yeah, it's awfully concerning not having either of your star wide receivers in the game. But the good news is I believe Anthony Ferkser's back this week. That will give him at least another option. I think they had one more receiver that came back too. I can't remember his name, but anyways, he came back too. But I mean, I think if this was going to happen, if we were going to sit people and try to get them healthy, get them rested, I think this is the time to do it. And this is the team to do it against for sure. So, I mean, Not a very good offense on the Jets side. Very average defense, I'd say. And
Yeah.
I think I can see why someone would be concerned about this week in this game, just with who we have out. But I think ultimately, as long as you stick to what got you to the dance, you hand it to the king, you lead tractor all the way, and play action off of it.
So,
and I think we got it.
Just a quick point of what you just said, where you're arguing if there's any game to have these players sit and rest, it should be this one. My argument is in the NFL, no matter what team you're playing against, I think it's a horrible idea to go with the college mentality of resting. We saw what happened with the Titans when they rested their players and they never practiced in the preseason. They got their ass whipped by the Cardinals. I think this could be a mistake if there aren't real injuries here. This is an NFL game. I know it's the Jets, but I just don't like that mentality.
Well, I mean, the question is they're acting like it's resting, but I mean, is this Vrabel just protecting his guys?
Are they hurt?
Maybe he is really hurt.
If
I don't
AJ
know.
Brown's hurt, that's fine.
I don't know why Julio's
Yeah, what's
sitting.
up with Julio?
I don't know why that does. I don't have any information on that, and it kind of puzzles me, to be honest with you. So I don't have any. I don't like that both of them are out. I'll just tell you that, and particularly if there's not a good reason for him to be out.
You can't trust Vrabel or any coach when it comes to injuries. I think you won't see A.J. Brown to the Bills game. Monday Night Football is going to be the next time you see him. And who knows with Julio? I mean, he's sitting on the sidelines after the game. He said there wasn't an issue. The next day, he said that there was a twinge. The day after that, he said there was a hamstring issue. So I don't think he's resting them if he doesn't play. I think he wants him to play, especially with AJ out.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that we don't know. We just don't know. It's kind of like the Tennessee quarterback situation. And we're going to know obviously the NFL before because they have to tell us, but they don't right now. And the less information you give, the better. They're having to prep right now. The New York Jets, their cornerbacks are having to prep for Julio Jones, a first ballot Hall of Famer. He may not play, but they're having to practice like he is.
Yeah, I mean, is he even dressing?
He's
I don't even know.
He's doing like walkthroughs at practice.
Who knows? He may be there just to scare him, like you said. But I mean, there's been some questionable stuff you look at the last game with Vrabel. I mean, apparently this is something he's not afraid to do. Just sit somebody down when he thinks that he's not in any danger. But I tend to agree with Bradley that, I mean, in a league where everybody's good, you're taking a big chance there. Now, we could be sitting here, Monday and, Derrick Henry rushed for 280 yards and it never really mattered. But I think you make yourself much more one-dimensional whenever you take away your two biggest threats outside.
Yeah, they've got to lean heavily on Derrick Henry here. I don't see any other way about it. That should lead to this game being a lower scoring game because the clock will keep running.
Yeah.
I still don't trust the Titans secondary, but I feel like coin flip. I'm taking the secondary over Zach frickin' Wilson though, and his bum ass receivers.
Yeah,
Davis.
And speaking of knowing tendencies, the Titans should know Davis's.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I 100% don't want us to come here Tuesday in our reaction show and say, how in the world did the Titans lose to this team? I don't want to do that. I got to believe that the Titans win. I don't think that Titans fans out there are going to enjoy a closer game than what they think. They think they should go in there and blow them out like Alabama would do to some sort of college team. But I'm going 23-17 and Titans don't cover this spread.
We talk about just giving the ball to Derrick Henry a million times, when we don't have the top receivers, and they're going to, but that scares me also. He had 398 touches last year, and traditionally when you have that many touches the next year, you get hurt. It's just the fact. I know Derrick Henry's a different beast. Right now, Derrick Henry is on pace for over 500 touches.
It's too many.
It's too many. It's just this is the type of game where we should be able to rest. Talking about resting people, let's give it to somebody else. Let's give it to Ferkser. Let's give it to whoever. I don't know. But another thing that scares me, last year we were in the same situation. Titans sitting at 5-1. And y'all remember how bad the Bengals were last year. Like, just awful. Titans make a little trip over to Cincy. Favored 10 points.
Yeah.
Easy win, right? No, they lost 31-20.
And that wasn't even Joe Burrow, right?
Yeah, it was.
It was
a
Burrow.
rookie quarterback.
Before he got hurt. And just the Titans have, just like the Seahawks, we talked about this, the Titans play up to their competition, but they also play down to their competition. They always have. Even that being said, they are the Jets. I'm taking the Titans here. I just don't think the Jets can score. I think it's going to be 21-10. I think it's a low-scoring game, and they just get out of there with the win and try to stay healthy.
I'm with you on that. I mean, I hear it about the whole Derrick Henry getting too many touches thing. I agree with it, but I also have never seen a running back like Derrick Henry.
He's a different animal.
I mean, it's hard to find anybody that you can really compare him to physically and otherwise. But I agree. I think they're taking the air out of the ball here. I think that they are pounding it all day long, maybe flicking a few passes to your tight ends, get some of these young receivers involved in maybe a deep pass or two. I do believe it's a low-scoring game due to the fact that we're just going to pound the rock all night, and I think it's a 21-14 win.
All of us going Titans. It's just remember, just a win. It's the NFL. You're not trying to impress anybody with any polls.
No, they should come back to home with Monday Night Football against the Bills with one loss.
Yeah. But we'll talk about next week's game next week.
Yeah, 1 week at a time.
I'm just saying.
Don't look ahead to the
well, that's what I think they're thinking too, though.
All right, we're going to go out west for our game of the week. Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks coming off another loss in Minnesota. They are going to the San Francisco 49ers, who, when I'm looking at this, they have injuries all over the place. Aaron Rodgers was doing whatever he wanted to against that secondary. Does Russell Wilson lose multiple games back-to-back? Not very often, Parker.
No, this has happened 16 times, back-to-back games. And that third game, he usually wins.
I mean, it's almost a perfect record.
Yeah. I mean, it really is almost perfect, especially against the spread. Against the spread, I think he's only lost one of those. And Seahawks are better. I mean, this feels like the buy low spot to me on the Seahawks. Do you really think the Seahawks are 1-2? Like, they are a better team than this. And you mentioned how beat up the 49ers are. They're so beat up last week, their fullback carried the ball more than their running back did.
Well, what running back? All four of them are injured. I've got two of them on my bench.
They are. And George Kittle's questionable. You got their cornerbacks are out. Of course, all their running backs are out. You've got another cornerback out. I mean, this team, I don't know why they get – man, they have the worst injury luck. They really do.
I mean, didn't we talk about this at the beginning of the year that, surely to goodness, a team doesn't have this happen to them 2 years in a row?
We did.
And I mean, here we are again talking about the same thing.
I mean, he said Super Bowl prediction possibly if they could just stay healthy.
I mean, what is it? I don't know. I mean, again, here's the conversation. Is it not doing anything in the preseason or what? I have no idea. So
I don't know. The Seattle defensive line doesn't look good either. I mean, it wasn't Dalvin Cook running on them. It was, what was it? Madison?
Yeah, Alexander Madison.
I mean, so, but San Francisco doesn't have a running back.
Nope.
To take advantage of this offensive line.
No, but they have Trey Lance. Maybe this is
maybe
this is the week he comes in.
Here we go.
I'm serious. They brought him in for one play last week, touchdown. Maybe Trey Sermon's better this week. I know
he is slow, man.
He does look bad. It's unbelievable they traded up for him in the third round and he looks this bad. But he does. And another bad stat, Kyle Shanahan is awful as a favorite. I mean, he barely wins as a favorite. Not just cover, barely wins.
Blake, the home team is favored here with the 49ers, but are there too many injuries? Do we have to side with Russell Wilson here?
Man, it's tough. I mean,
tough game.
It is.
It's a big game out
Their
west.
defense is just not good, though. And with injuries, that doesn't help. I mean, good grief. I'm kind of hesitant to go.
It's a tough one, isn't it?
It is, man. This is a tough one. I'm probably going to change my pick 3 times before you get down here to me.
Oh, he wants us to go first.
Yeah, man. I'm bouncing back and forth
All right,
here,
I'll go first.
looking at these stats.
I'm going with my fantasy football quarterback. I'm going with the odds that he just doesn't lose multiple times like this. Sneaky pick with Chris Carson, their running back. I'm going Seattle, 31-27.
I wrote it down. I wrote down my pick.
31-27 Seattle.
Sitting here looking at it, the experts predict San Francisco to win this game 57% of the time that it's played. But looking at all the like metrics and everything, to me it feels like, who are you picking, Jimmy or Russ? And I'm taking Russ.
Russ bus.
Yep, I think Seattle wins this game. They are not a 1-3 team. That's just insanity. They're going to win this game. I'm taking the exact same score as Bradley did.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to stick with the score. I'm going with Seattle. I think I'm looking at a 2 teams that if there's one quarterback that I feel like has a better chance to carry the team, I think it's going to be Russell Wilson all the way, and particularly with all these injuries. So
remember that as we segue into our next little section. Remember, Seattle, they're getting points here. So if you want to make some money, don't forget about them, and maybe even taking the money line. You get some extra juice. You get to play with some spread there.
Yep.
We all like Seattle, just straight up even in that matchup. Underdog time last week, as we mentioned, we were all combined 3-0, picking teams that were not supposed to win that straight up won their games. Either one of you, have you identified a team? This is a little harder since we've only got a few to pick from.
I have one with one caveat. We just got a update that a quarterback may be hurt, but if we go to Denver versus the Ravens, Denver has looked great, right? They're undefeated. But have you looked at who they've played? They've played the Giants, the Jags, and the Jets. That means they've played Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, and Zach Wilson.
Trevor's pretty good.
I hear how great the Denver defense is, and maybe that's true. I don't know, but they haven't played anyone. I have zero idea. And Lamar is a different cat, man. You put him back there. I know his receivers are hurt. I know he's a little hurt and all this stuff. Ravens they've been beat up. They're getting their defensive line back. They're getting cornerbacks back. I still feel like this is a sell high on Denver, buy low on the Ravens. I think the Ravens run away with this game. I'm taking the Ravens straight up.
all right. How about that? Well, bounced around a lot on this one. Finally zeroed in on pretty good little matchup here with Arizona and the Rams. Cardinals and the Rams. I'm looking at this. What do I got here? Sorry, I have my shit pulled up and now I don't.
I think the Rams.
All right, here we go. The Rams,
4 and 3 point favorite.
Yeah. So I think it's either 3.5 or 4. So I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the number of passing yards that the Rams allow per game. Not very good. 25th in the NFL. Looking at Kyler Murray back there. I know he's a difference maker. I think he's a pretty gritty guy, kind of a gamer. I think he's the kind of guy that's really wanting to take the next step into the upper echelon of the NFL quarterbacks, which, I mean, some would argue he's already there, but I think he really wants to be the guy. So, and I think after last week, I think he wants to erase that from everybody's memory as far as how they performed in Jacksonville. And I think this is going to be a red-ass performance by the Cardinals, and I think they're going to take the Rams down.
Just remember, Arizona is 5 and 13 in the last 3 years against NFC West opponents. They can't get the Rams off their back here. Tough matchup, but I would argue that Kyler Murray is the better quarterback in this game.
Of course he would.
That's absolutely insanity. But I will tell Blake that he's on the side of the professionals. The professional bettors are backing Arizona in this game to win straight up.
Whoa, really?
Daddy's got a feeling.
And usually it's a good thing to go against.
Not the public.
Oh,
the professionals.
Professionals.
Public is on LA.
Hey, our record shows that you should go with us.
True.
Just saying.
Matthew Stafford's record shows that you should not go with him.
Matthew Stafford is
And I
leading
did
for
not.
the MVP right now if it was ending today.
Did you put any money on that at the beginning?
Yes, I did.
Oh, that could.
I did
pay
on
off.
I did on Jameis also and cashed out after 1 week. I was like, yes.
Oh, geez.
Jameis.
Underdog. Man, I hate to pick on the NFC East, but they're such an easy target. I'm looking at a home team that's an underdog, and we have the Washington football team coming to their place to play. I'm not saying that the Falcons are good, but I could be saying that I don't believe in Washington anymore. We mentioned it before doing this here. I mean, once Fitzpatrick went out, we know that Heineke showed a lot in the playoffs last year. On paper, maybe they should have the better team, right? I mean, there's a lot of hoopla around the Washington defense. They haven't shown up yet this whole entire season. I love taking home teams, and I'm getting a home team here that's an underdog. I'm going Falcons as the straight up victory over the Washington football team.
I thought about it. I love it. Washington's defense is not what it was.
No, and they've had plenty of opportunities to show it. I mean, it's not.
No, they've been carved up. I don't know.
They haven't played the hardest of their schedule yet.
I think maybe the issue is last year they played an easy schedule. And it just made it look like they were better than they were.
There you go.
Baltimore, Arizona, Atlanta to win straight up. Best bet time where we pick either the favorite or the underdog to cover the spread. I'll go ahead and start. I'm looking at a team that coming into this season had never lost in September. I'm looking at a quarterback that had never thrown an interception in September. And all of a sudden, they find themselves all alone in last place in the AFC West. The last time that happened was years ago, I'm sure, but Kansas City traveling to Philadelphia. I don't recommend this, but I'm going with the red booty factor again here but taking road teams as favorites is kind of a risky proposition in the NFL. But Kansas City -7 at Philly. I think if they score 17, it's over. Night. I don't think Philadelphia can score in this game.
You know, taking a road favorite is tricky unless they've got Patrick Mahomes. We already went over my top two bets. I love Seattle and I love the Ravens, but I don't want to double up. So I'm going to go with one that sounds kind of psychotic, but I like it. I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have just looked absolutely dreadful. So I'm putting my money on a 100-year-old quarterback. But against the Packers, and I know the Packers got a mission to prove, but this is 6.5. Mike Tomlin, y'all, at home isn't that great, and when he's a favorite, Mike Tomlin on the road as a dog is 18-6. He's almost guaranteed to win. I mean, think about this. I could prove it from this year. Buffalo Bills. They went to Buffalo and beat down the Bills. Green Bay is going to be down their field stretcher. MVS is going to be out, so they're going to be able to put more attention on Devontae Adams. Pittsburgh defense is going to be better. Pittsburgh should actually be able to run the ball against this team. I think Green Bay wins with a Crosby field goal at the end, but I think they keep it within the 6.5.
You've had this pick in your best bet before. You've leaned on Pittsburgh. I think it may have been the Buffalo game.
It was the Buffalo game.
Take the points.
Take the points when they are on the road. It's if they are road dogs, you take Pittsburgh. It's just what it is. 18-6, doesn't lie.
All right. So I am looking at the return of Tom Brady to New England.
Oh,
somebody
what a
went
game.
And
What are they giving a touchdown?
6.5 is what I have it at. Might have changed. We'll see.
Yeah, it's right at 7 now.
Yeah. So I believe that, I mean, we all know Tom Brady is a very proud guy. And he takes the whole, it was me, not the system thing very personally. And I think he is ready to absolutely shove it right up Bill Belichick's ass. And I think this 7, I think he's got that all day. I think Mac Jones is going to be get a front row seat on excellent quarterback play.
But you're big on Mac Jones.
I am
All year.
I mean, but I'm also. I mean, look, it's not absent on me. I mean, look, this Patriots defense is actually pretty damn good. But I mean, they're very, very good. They're really good. They're really, really good. I don't even know how else to say it. But I just think that Tom Brady knows all the tricks that's going to be thrown at him. I think he's probably pissed off after his last outing. The red ass thing is a real thing for him.
Parker's making me laugh. He's looking at, because we mentioned this in the reaction show.
I mean,
the Tampa Bay Bucks, folks.
They don't rush the ball.
Blake, who was their leading rusher?
Tom Brady was their leading rusher.
How can that ever happen?
Hey,
where are you, playoff Lenny? I know where Ronald Jones is. He's on the bench, just like on my fantasy roster. But
I mean, it's a trend this year in the NFL.
They're averaging like 60 yards rushing per game, and you're telling me Tom Brady was their leading rusher last week?
Yeah, well, when your quarterback throws for 450 yards.
They're not even getting 60 anymore.
No.
What do they see?
No.
And Tom Brady should come in there and light him up, but at some point, and they probably will cover this game, but it scares me for the playoffs. I mean, you've got to be able to run the ball in the playoffs. It just look. Well,
they don't. It's like they don't even really try. It's the thing.
I mean, Giovanni Bernard was like their best guy last week.
Yeah. Tom Brady.
Well, I mean, yeah. but they use him as kind of like the passing extension of it. Look at this, y'all. The betting percentage coming in on Tampa Bay, which scares the living bejesus out of me. 96% of the money that's bet on this game is on Tampa Bay, which is, just like.
Well, like I said, I mean, everybody knows this is a game that Tom Brady's had circled on his calendar. You know he has. This is a big deal to him to win this game.
Is Belichick?
I
think had it circled, right?
I think he has, but I think that there is
nothing he can do about it.
I mean, look, it's not the same. Mac Jones is a good rookie quarterback, but he's not Tom Brady.
You know who else has had this circle? Rob Gronkowski.
Good point.
I'm assuming his ribs are okay.
I think he didn't practice today, but right. I think it's in preparation to play for this game. I think it's going to be a fun game to watch. I'm really excited. And we mentioned this in the preview podcast. Pat the cell phone back here a little bit. Tom Brady's going to break the all-time passing record in this game.
Wow. How about that? I mean, if that isn't motivation, I don't know what is.
He was trying to throw it right there against the Rams because he was behind the whole time to Matt Stafford, for goodness sakes.
Yep.
Best quarterback in the league.
Not buying it. Still not buying it. Not doing it.
Well, another wonderful weekend of NFL football coming up. I don't know if the football will be very good tonight, but we'll see. Someone on this panel here is going to be, man.
I got to tell you, I literally had Jacksonville put down on this sheet and I deleted it because of the play calling last week, but I really think there's a real possibility.
Only the second time this year that I have an expectation of a victory. I'm begging you to keep it simple. You don't have to throw the ball 100 yards down the field every time, but you can take advantage of the injuries in the secondary with slants.
Absolutely.
You don't have to run the bubble stuff all the time.
And hey, if they don't win, this one down here is not going to be worth anything for the rest of the weekend. But anyways, hey guys, thanks for joining us again today for our prediction show. Go ahead and check us out on Twitter at DDS Sports Talk. Leave us a comment there. Tell us how stupid we are for picking these picks. But you know what? Look at our record and then decide who's stupid. Go ahead and like, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Leave us a thumbs up there. Hit the notification bell for us. Any parting comments, folks?
Tighten up.
Duval.
Two-tone blue all the way. You guys be well.